welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Erik Voss, and for those who felt Thor Love and Thunder might have been missing something, your answer is written in ink, my friends. Loki, the God of Mischief's cameo limited to the most epic back tat. And a reminder that in this 616 universe, as Korg reminded us in the opening storytime prologue, Loki remains dead at the hands of Thanos. But if you look closely at the bottom of that tattoo, the banner reads, Rest in Mischief. And what does rest in mischief really mean as we look ahead in the MCU? Because since another of Thor's brethren who died during that same conflict with Thanos, Heimdall, now resides in Valhalla, the afterlife where Asgardian warriors go when they die in battle, shouldn't logically 616 Loki be in Valhalla too? Let's break down Loki's current status, both in the 616 MCU and what is going on with his L-1130 variant in Loki Season 2, currently in production, and we are loving it! Thor Love and Thunder establishes the Norse afterlife of Valhalla, not just in the post-credit scene, but really it gets mentioned several times throughout the movie to remind us that it is a thing. The actors of the New Asgard Theater Company add dialogue to Odin's parting address. Now it is time for me to pass on to the spirit realm. I will take my place in the great banquet hall of Valhalla, the resting place of the gods. And then later when Thor rescues Sif, Sif says, leave me here, I want to die a warrior's death on the battlefield, in battle, and then I can claim my place in Valhalla. And then Thor reminds us that one has to die in battle, and that since Sif survived, she probably won't go there, but maybe her severed arm is in Valhalla. And again, the rule does seem a bit fuzzy on this. Odin disintegrated into golden dust in Ragnarok despite not being in the midst of battle in that moment. I guess you could argue that he was, in a way, fighting a war against the rising threats of Hela or Thanos, or maybe fighting his own guilty conscience. But no, that's not how Valhalla works! I guess it's also possible that turning into golden dust doesn't necessarily mean to Valhalla you go. The dust is just what it looks like from our perspective when god-tier beings leave this plane of existence and go elsewhere, to Valhalla or wherever else. Case in point, Heimdall. He didn't turn into gold dust when Thanos killed him, and his soul nonetheless ended up in Valhalla. So I think we can safely say that the gold dust isn't a required component of the transfer to Valhalla. It's just something that coincidentally was the case for Jane Foster. And we cannot deny that 616 Loki died in the midst of heroic battle. Thanos' forces slaughtering half the Asgardian refugees. That was a genuine war, my friends, an infinity one. And Loki lunged at Thanos' neck with a dagger to prevent it. In his final breaths, Loki rasped to Thanos, "You will never be a god." And looking back, it's hard not to see that as an Obi-Wan Kenobi style, if you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine. This was 616 Loki's final taunt. Take my body away, but since I'm a god, a true god, not a weird pseudo-god of an eternal variety as Thanos is, and since my death came because I tried to save my people from you, I know where I'm going. An eternal reward awaits me in one of those Mormony-looking banquet halls. Now, when Loki variant L-1130 gets pruned in Loki episode 4, he wakes up in the void and asks,
is it hell?
Hell with one L, meaning Loki expected that when he died, he wouldn't have gone to Valhalla, he would have gone to Hell, the realm Hela was banished to. But this variant up until that point had been more goofus than gallant. He hadn't yet heroically engaged in any serious gallantry. That would come later in episode 5, and perhaps motivated by this come to Odin moment, that if he's going to die, he should do so in a blaze of glory, protecting those he loves. Now, of course, that Loki lives on in the Loki series with the TVA. Season 1 ended with Loki shaken from his encounter with the Kang variant He Who Remains, and Sylvie rupturing the sacred timeline in a way that left Loki in a warped TVA where Kang rules over it proudly, declining the use of the visage of timekeepers. Mobius and P-15 in this warped TVA don't recognize Loki. Their memories wiped not just from their recent experiences with him, but they don't even recognize him as the infamous god of mischief. And now we're beginning to see some set imagery from Loki Season 2, showing Loki back in TVA agent uniform as they visit a 1970s McDonald's. Sylvie is working there. The orange uniform she wears was dated to a 1976 McDonald's uniform. Maybe they're trying to track down Sylvie from yet another timeline after the Season 1 events? Who knows, since time is a flat circle, maybe we're just gonna see a repeat of the Season 1 events with a different variant of all these people, doomed to repeat themselves over and over again, as from a broad bird's eye view, the timeline is rupturing, and they are all doomed to end up at the same destination. I can't wait to break down Loki Season 2. So is that what rest in mischief really means? Or does it refer to our 616 Loki, who is currently residing in Valhalla? Now, I don't have to tell you that inflation makes everything cost more, and that stinks. But if you could get some of your hard-earned cash back, It would stink less, right? Well, that's where Upside comes in. Upside's an app that gets you up to 3 times more cash back than a credit card loyalty program can for stuff you buy all the time. Here's an example: gas. When I need gas, I open up the Upside app, I search for a nearby gas station offering a good deal, claim it, and then head there to buy gas. I can check in or snap a pic of the receipt, and I'm good to go. No special cards to carry or numbers to remember, just Upside's app on my phone. Anytime I want, I can cash out to my bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Upside users are earning more than $1 million every week, and it has a 4.8 star rating on the App Store. To get started, download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play, use promo code New Rockstars, and get $5 or more cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. And thanks again to Upside for sponsoring this video. One of the things I missed out on with the MCU version of Ragnarok is how truly revolutionary this event is supposed to be to the Asgardians. In the movie, Ragnarok is really the prophesized doom of Asgard mentioned by Surtur and confirmed by Odin before his death, and then later just allowed to happen by Thor and Loki unleashing Surtur to destroy Asgard and take out Hela. But many of the Asgardians survived that event, escaped on the refugee ship the Statesman, until half of those refugees are killed by Thanos' forces and another half of them are wiped out off screen in the snap. It's likely that many of the citizens of New Asgard interpret all of these events as a season of Ragnarok, the way many people in our world look at a bunch of national tragedies and strokes of bad luck as some kind of coming apocalypse. But at the end of the day, that was not truly Ragnarok, because in the comics, which take their cues from Norse mythology, Ragnarok is meant to be a truly apocalyptic event that cyclically kills all of the Asgardians, including Thor. They are all destined to die. After Ragnarok in the Marvel comics, the Asgardian souls are reincarnated into new bodies. This is actually how we get Lady Loki, because Loki's reincarnated soul snatches the female body that was meant for Lady Sif. Meanwhile, Lady Loki traps Sif in the body of an elderly woman confined to a nursing home, and this leads to some humorous confusion with Thor, and Lady Loki goes on to become a major player during the Dark Reign storyline of the comics. And this is why I was so excited to see Valhalla now, because seeing afterlife forms of dead characters at all suggests that sentient souls are a thing, and post-Ragnarok reincarnation may also be in the cards for upcoming MCU titles. In Loki's case, one of the other times he reincarnated in the comics was in 2011 when he was reborn as a boy in Paris with no memories of being Loki except for some nightmares in which he does frightening things. Thor takes his kid under his wing and restores part of his identity, and this kid goes on to become the little punk anti-hero Kid Loki. Now, to be clear, this is not the same Kid Loki whom we met in The Void in the Disney Plus series. That was a different Loki who killed Thor when they were children. No reincarnation was involved there. So within 616, we could get Loki reborn, and this would be a different way to bring back dead characters than this other way that they've been doing through multiversal variants. The main difference being those variants do not have the memories of the characters and the past relationships with the living characters from the Infinity Saga. And that shared history is really what I think makes these characters special. The battles they fought together, the losses they've shared. Loki Variant L-1130 didn't live through the events of the Dark World or Ragnarok or Infinity War with Thor. He just kind of watched it all on a projector screen. Is watching something on a screen equal character development? I mean, I don't know. When I watch Wanda reenact sitcom tropes with the Synthezoid, am I vicariously growing as a person with her? I'm crying just as hard as what is grief if not love persevering? Am I equally corruptible to an evil book if I happen to read it? Really, the question we should be asking, doesn't death give life meaning? And by suddenly resurrecting all these characters, we're robbing them of the important moment of their deaths? Yes, of course death gives life meaning, but as the MCU goes deeper into afterlives and existentialism by resurrecting these dead characters, it really recalls the words of T'Challa when he first described the ancestral plane back in Civil War.
In my culture, death is not the end. It's more of a stepping off point.
So I would say as long as the death fully transforms this soul in a lasting, meaningful way in their afterlife and in their reincarnated future, that transformation means the meaning stays intact. So yes, Loki should be in Valhalla, my friends, and yes, the sun should rise on these brothers once again. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Erik Voss, follow New Rockstars, subscribe to New Rockstars for more analysis of everything you love. Thanks for watching, bye.